Hey guys, it is time for Window Manager number 5 in the Obscure Window Manager project. We have already covered FVWM, JWM, OpenBox, PECWM. Today, we're tackling the first tiling window manager in the list, Qtile. Qtile is a tiling window manager written and configured entirely in Python. So if you guys know a little bit of Python, which Python is a very popular programming language, a lot of programming novices usually start with Python. So if you know a little bit of Python, you can do a lot with Qtile. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And this is Qtile out of the box. You have basically no wallpaper. It's usually a black screen, just a plain solid color background. And then you do have a panel at the bottom. Now it is a black panel, so it's kind of difficult to tell you have a panel, but you do have basically these workspaces here. They are labeled A, S, D, F, U, I, O, P. What does that mean? Well, if I hit the mod key, which is the super key here in Qtile, A, S, D, F, U, I, O, P. You see how I'm changing workspaces here? Once again, I'll go in reverse this time. I'm on desktop or workspace P, super key O, super key I, super key U, super key F, super key D, super key S, and super key A. I'm back to that very first workspace. And probably the most important thing you need to know when you first launch Qtile is how to open a terminal. It would be the super key plus enter. Get you a terminal. Now I've got this terminal open. How do you close the terminal? Well, you can always close a terminal simply by typing exit and hit enter. But let me open a terminal again. So super key enter opens our terminal. You can also use this key binding by default in Qtile to close your windows. And it doesn't matter whether it's a terminal or text editor or some graphical program. The super key, the mod key, plus W closes a window. So super key enter opens a terminal. Super key enter again would open a second terminal. Super key enter again would open a third terminal. Now they're stacking on top of each other right here. So when I close them, I killed the top one, I killed the second one, I killed the third one. They're all gone. Really, when you first launch Qtile, if you've never used it before, you really need to go to their website. One of the great things about Qtile is they have a website with really good documentation. All the functions and libraries and you know how to hack on Qtile. All that information is right here at qtile.org. Click on documentation. And basically you have your little instruction manual. Everything from how to get Qtile installed, building it from source, and then of course the configuration. Here is the default configuration. These are the key bindings that are set by default. So mod W close window is how I close the windows there. Mod enter starts in XTerm, the XTerm terminal emulator. Let's see what else we need. Mod control R restarts Qtile. So if you edit like the Qtile config, you need to restart Qtile for that new config to take effect. Mod plus control plus R restarts Qtile. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to start modifying our default Qtile config, because by default it just has a few key bindings set just so you can get around, but really we need to add a lot of stuff to it. So I'm going to open up a terminal. So super key plus enter opens an XTerm here. Now the default Qtile config file, I'm not exactly sure where it lives on the system, so I'm going to type locate Qtile, and it spits out a bunch of directories and files that contain the word Qtile, but I can already tell you that this one here toward the end, /user/share/doc/Qtile/default config, that's going to be the default config. I like how they named that. It's very easy to figure out where the default config is. Now I'm going to open up the PCManFM file manager. I could do all this in a terminal, but I know a lot of you guys, would rather not do everything in the terminal. So you know what, I'll go ahead and do some of this in your standard GUI file manager. PCManFM is already installed on this virtual machine. Now in Qtile, by default, the run command prompt is set to mod key, the super key, plus R. You see at the bottom now I have this spawn, colon, and then a blinking cursor. I just start typing whatever I want to run. So PCManFM. And here's our PCManFM file manager. Now it's sitting on top of our terminal. We need to change the layout so I can see the terminal and the file manager side by side. The super key plus tab changes your layouts in Qtile. So super key tab gets me this paned layout here where we have one program taking up exactly half of the screen on the left side and one taking up half the screen on the right. Now, the default config for Qtile, again, lives in /user/share/doc, yada, yada, yada. But we are going to place our custom Qtile config in our home directory. In our home directory, there's a hidden directory called .config. In this directory, there may or there may not be a folder called Qtile in it. In my case, there isn't one. I need to create it. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Qtile, all lowercase, Qtile. And of course it's an empty folder right now. I need to copy the default config that's in user, share, doc, Qtile over to my .config/Qtile directory. I could do that in PCManFM, but you know what? I'm just going to copy it in the terminal. According to the Qtile documentation, you need to place that in your home directory .config/Qtile, and you need to name your config config.py, not default config.py like is in our /user/share/doc folder. We need to rename it. So here you go in the terminal. I'm going to copy that default config.py, save it as config.py here in our .config/Qtile directory, and there you go. Now when I open this up, I'll open it up in Genie. This is our default Qtile config. And we can go ahead and start playing around with it right now. First thing I'm going to do is, I don't need this terminal up anymore, so mod W, again, closes that. Also mod tab gets me back to this layout here. First, let's go ahead and take a look at the default config. You have a bunch of copyright stuff here. These are mainly Qtile developers. Some of these guys, they've contributed to the project, to the default config here. Of course, you have some licensing stuff here, right here. Basically, you're importing various Qtile Python libraries. If you want to know what all of these libraries are, check the Qtile documentation. A very important line here is this one, mod equals mod 4. That is the mod key, for our key bindings. It is set to mod 4 out of the box. Mod 4 is your super key, your Windows key. In Linux, we typically call it the super key, though, rather than the Windows key. So mod 4 is the super key. Now, some people prefer to use their alt key as the mod key. So if you want to use your alt key as the mod key, you would change this from mod 4 to mod 1. Now moving down the config just a little bit, we have right here, mod key plus return equals XTerm. It launches our XTerm. I'm not going to use XTerm as my default terminal emulator here. I've already got Termite installed. I installed it when I, did FVWM and OpenBox and JWM and all that. I really like the Termite terminal emulator, so I'm going to change XTerm here to Termite. I'm going to hit save. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that line I just modified there. So mod, return, Termite. Then we need to restart Qtile. Now I can go back to the Qtile documentation and look at what the restart command was because I've already forgot it. But I've got the Qtile default config right in front of me. Mod Control R restarts Qtile. So mod Control R restarts Qtile. Now the mod key and enter, instead of launching XTerm, should launch Termite. Let me try that again. I didn't have this window focused here. I was actually on my host machine when I launched that. Termite did open, but it was on my host machine, not this virtual machine. And Termite opens here. So we changed that key binding successfully. So mod W to close Termite here. Get back to Genie. Another important line is this line right here, groups. And you see groups. And then ASDFUIOP. Of course, that is our workspaces down here. ASDFUIOP. If I wanted to change these workspace names, we could pick any other keys on the keyboard. So instead of ASDFUIOP, how about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Okay. I'm going to save the config. I'm going to restart Qtile. Again, mod key control R to restart Qtile. And now you will see my workspaces are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, ASDFU. That's all still here too, but that's just a graphical glitch. If I log out and log back in, matter of fact, why don't I do that? Mod key control Q to quit Qtile. And we just log right back in. Yeah, and now my workspaces are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So mod key 1, mod key 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, mod key 8, mod 7, mod 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back to the first workspace. Let me get back into Genie. So the super key R for our run command, and then type the word Genie. Genie launches. Moving down the config a little further, we have right here layouts. By default, Qtile only uses 2 layouts. The max layout, the max screen layout, which we're in right now. You know, your window is full screen. If I open a second window, it just stacks right on top of it, full screen. We also have what they call the stack layout, where you have 2 stacks that take up 50% of the screen. One on the left side, one on the right, and then windows just stack, you know, stack in that 50% that you launch them in. Of course, I can pull up the Qtile documentation again. There's a lot more layouts than just max and stack that we can use. You go to built-in layouts here. They have other layouts, for example, layout, columns, matrix, max, monad tall. Monad tall is one I like because it kind of mimics monad a little bit. Xmonad, which I really love. Ratio tile is another good one. Slice. I don't think I've used slice before. Tile. Tree tab. Tree tab's pretty neat too. Anyway, you just basically add these classes. They tell you what class to add to the config, and then you can use these configs. Let me show you how this is done. So if I wanted to add the monad tall here, I would need to import from libqtile the layout.xmonad.monad tall. I would need to add this to our config. From libqtile import layout. So that's already there, the entire layout. I don't need to do anything. I think I'm just good. I think I could just add monad tall here and everything will work for me. Let's see. Alright, so I added layout.monad tall right here in between max and stack. So we're adding a third layout. I've already saved this config file. Let me restart Qtile. Alright. So now when I do super key tab to cycle through the layouts, I should have 3 layouts. Max. And this should be monad tall. Yep, this is a new layout. Monad tall basically puts one section of the screen, 50% always, and then the other 50% section, you see how it tiles them in a vertical sort of way? This is the monad tall layout. As a matter of fact, I could go ahead and add all of the layouts, all the built-in layouts from Qtile here, just to demonstrate all of them here on video. And for sake of time, I'm only going to add 2 more layouts here. The tree tab layout, because it's kind of unique. You guys will like that. And a floating layout, which you need to have some kind of floating layout in your tiling window manager, because some programs you're just going to need to have in a floating sort of mode. Things like GIMP and, you know, that have a lot of windows, but you don't want them tiling. You don't want them resizing on you. You want them to open at whatever size they open at and stay that way. So you would have those programs always open on a certain workspace using the floating layout. Anyway, I'm going to save the config. I'm going to go ahead and restart Qtile. So restart Qtile, super key, Control R. All right. Now I'm going to cycle through the layouts again. Right now we're on the monad tall layout. So super key, tab, gets me to the tree view. You see the tree view here? Basically we have this column over here that lists all our open windows. And now I only have one. I have Genie open, but let me open a terminal. So super key, enter. Now we have a terminal open. Let me do a run command. Mod key R. I'm going to open another program, PCman FM. Now we have PCman FM. Now you see they're all listed right here. I can actually use the mouse to go through them. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and cycle through the floating layout too. So this is the floating layout. Basically, they're not tiled in any way. You can just grab a hold of them, use the super key and the mouse, and just drag your windows around. Let me go ahead and close this window because I don't need that. I do need Genie. Let's see if I can get it back into full screen mode, though. That's the stacking mode. That's the max. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Moving further down the config here, we have past layouts. We have widgets. We have screens. Now what this is, the screens here, down here, basically this is everything in that panel. The first thing is the widget group box, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or ASDF, whatever it was out of the box by default. Then the next widget is the prompt. That is the run prompt. The super R, that spawns a run command. Then we have widget window name. That is the name of the current window we're focused on. In my case, this is the Genie stuff here. Then we have widget text box, name equals default. See right here, default config. We could actually change that to say anything. If you wanted just to have some kind of plain text, you wanted a certain thing on the panel. Then you have widget sys tray. This is, of course, your system tray. Nothing's in it, but if you wanted to launch a network manager applet, or have a sys tray for, I don't know, maybe stuff like Dropbox or anything like that, that's where that would go. Then of course you have widget clock. That is the clock, and here's the format out of the box. Of course I would probably change this, make it a little bit more readable. And finally we have our mouse bindings, button 1, button 3, and button 2 on the mouse. And basically, I just read you the entire config file out of the box for Qtile. Pretty straightforward and pretty easy to hack on. Even somebody with no programming experience at all should be able to get around this config file pretty easy. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more advanced config file. I'm going to go ahead and pull down one of my old Qtile configs. And here is one of my old config files here. I'm actually not sure how well this config is going to work in this virtual machine. It's my old config for my actual production machine. I used to live in Qtile for a little while. My actual main production machine is a 3-monitor setup. I'm only using 1 monitor in this virtual machine, but it looks like it's functioning correctly. You notice I have moved the panel from the bottom to the top. I've changed the name of the workspaces from just simple letters or numbers to actual words. For example, dev for development, www, for web, for browsing, or IRC chat or whatever. Sys, doc, VBox for VirtualBox, chat, media, and graphics. Let me show you this config, the config I pulled down. So I've got a different key binding set for the run command, but you see my run command now opens up here. I've changed the coloring to it, and I launched Genie. And here is my custom config. Of course, it includes a lot more stuff. I've added a lot more key bindings, a lot more functionality here. Added a lot of key bindings to common programs I use all the time. I have a key binding for Firefox, for Thunderbird, PCman FM, Genie, Ranger, HTOP, URSI, the Lynx terminal browser, Canto, which is a RSS newsfeed reader, also Mixer, various scripts I sometimes run. I even have a link to the Qtile config, open the Qtile config in Vim. That way I can hack on it if I so choose. Of course, that hotkey doesn't work because the path to that config file is not correct. Let me change it, correct that path, save. I'm going to restart Qtile. And now that hotkey that I had where we launched my Qtile config in Vim should work. Yep, this is Vim, and this is my Qtile config in Vim. So I've got it hotkeyed, so I can quickly edit something in Qtile in the config if I need to. Like if I need to alter a key binding, add a key binding, delete a key binding. I'm not going to be doing much in Vim today, so I'm going to close this window. We'll just stick with using Genie today. I don't want to use Vim, scare away the Linux noobs. Moving through the config past all my key bindings, we have some colors, sets various colors in the bar, the panel. Of course, we have my group names here, dev, www, assist, doc, what have you. Our workspace names here. Then we have layouts. I have, in my config, I use max, monad tall, stack, ratio tile, tree tab, slice, and floating. I have commented out matrix and zoomy. I don't use them, but if I wanted to, all I need to do is just uncomment them. Then we have the widget list. These are all the widgets that appear in my panel here. Most of these we went over earlier. I do have the widget for the net, which is the upload and download speed for your internet. Also have widget current layout. It tells me the current layout I'm on. You see monad tall up here. That tells me I'm on the monad tall layout. And this was my config for my triple monitor setup on my main machine. I actually have it laid out for doing 3 different monitors. And that's basically the config. It's a little bit bigger config, but most of it is key bindings, a lot of key bindings. But the Qtile config is very easy to navigate, very easy to modify. If you know a little scripting, a little shell scripting, a little Python scripting, if you've ever done anything like in HTML or CSS, JavaScript, this is a very easy config file to figure out what's going on, and the Qtile documentation is fantastic. Just playing around my config here, I'm going to launch a few things. This is the Ranger file manager that I had hotkeyed to a certain key. Let's see. Of course, I had htop hotkeyed too. Let's see what else I had hotkeyed. I had something hotkeyed there, but it's not functioning correctly. Of course, I had Awesome Mixer hotkeyed. If I wanted to move these windows around, if you want to change the focus of the windows, of course the mouse changes the focus, but you're not going to use the mouse much in a tiling window manager. J and K on the keyboard change focus of the windows. J goes one direction, K goes the other. And that's mod key, J and K is what I have it set to. I use mod shift J and K to actually move the windows in the layout. So just cycle them around. And I can actually change the width and the height of various windows. So let me close all of these. So that is Qtile, a very brief overview of Qtile. Really fantastic tiling window manager that I've mentioned a couple of times on my videos about Qtile, because Qtile is one of those tiling window managers that just doesn't get a lot of love out there. A lot of people use things like i3, Xmonad, Awesome. You see those on forums, mentioned in YouTube videos all the time. It's rare you see like a screenshot of anybody using Qtile, and I don't understand why. It is such a configurable tiling window manager, easy to use, easy to hack on, written entirely in Python. I think most people know a little Python. Most people don't know any Haskell, yet Xmonad has a ton of users. Same thing with like i3. Nobody knows how to code in C, or Lua for Awesome. It was one of the reasons I picked Qtile for this obscure window manager project, is because I think it needs more exposure It needs more love. I really hope that more people discover Qtile and contribute to the project. They're always looking for more developers. So check out Qtile, guys. Peace.